So we've just had a discussion this morning about a new campaign that Nedbank is launching. What story will your money tell? So you've got as the campaign rolls out, you've got a number of these stories which presumably are going to be told.
Absolutely.
And they're going to be looking not just at wealth, because wealth can be a very self-indulgent thing.
Yes.
It's how much do I have, that I can count, is it bigger than yours type of thing. I think you're looking at how much of that is fed back into a positive contribution to society. I think it was Milton Friedman who said the primary responsibility of a company owner is to make profits and pay dividends to shareholders. That, of course, has changed. I mean, people are expecting a lot more, particularly in South Africa today.
I think it's a continuation of the conversation around money, around building narratives around what money means to people, where it's come from, what they're trying to achieve. And in the private wealth context, it's around how does your money connect you to a life well lived? And that is much more than money. And so it does bring in this broader concept of wealth and how your money has enabled stories that wealth has enabled, be it experiences, be it recognition, respect, the value that you've added to your family, your friends, your community, the legacies that people who have the luxury of wealth can offer to society during and after their lifetime. And so it's trying to build on that narrative and getting people to share their stories. I think with both a positive and a risk context. The positive being how does money enable fantastic stories? How many experiences? What's the value of your life? How have you lived? What have you done? What have you achieved? How many stories can you tell? And the person who has the most stories, the best stories, that's a better definition of happiness and success, not just how much money you have.
What would be the outcome of this campaign? What story will your money tell in terms of how you're going to differentiate yourself from others in the wealth management space?
Some of the outcomes from the campaign would be, as I said, to build on the dialogue around money and around wealth. And we spent a lot of time discussing the differences between money and wealth is much more than money. And so we want people to start talking about money and where they've made mistakes and sharing. And as you said, we've got clients and non-clients who are sharing their stories about money, very, very real stories of successes and failures in their money and wealth journeys. From a industry perspective and in terms of our business positioning, it's also focusing the conversation around the client and what's important to them and the relevance of advice. And Pepe again spoke about it. It's like I'd really value someone who's looking at helping me make a financial decision but without having to sell me all these other products. So it's the value of advice as a fundamentally valuable service in its own right. And that's we're trying to shift that conversation as well. There is a very real, I guess, point of departure. Says it was raised in the discussion. Oh well, banks just want to sell you their products. Well, in the wealth management space, our first and most important lever is actually advice, and our advisors are not the product providers. And so it's shifting the narrative around the importance of your life stories and how your money and how good wealth management connects your wealth to a life that you really want to lead, that involves experiences and getting the best from your money and connecting it to a purpose of your life rather than just we want to manage the money. And so it's got a few objectives around building on the narrative of talking about money, challenging the notion that it's he who has the most or she has the most money wins the prize. And in my experience, that is absolutely not the case when measured against a broader wealth portfolio of what a life well lived looks like. And it links into our strategy as a business, as a wealth management business, which is very much advice-led. And that starts with these conversations around understanding our clients, who they are, what they're about, where their money came from, or what money they are trying to achieve, and then moving into, well, actually, what does wealth look like, and how do you connect these money discussions and decisions to what you want from your life.